Any advice for applying to American schools?
If one is looking at applying to an American institution, plan early. By grades 10, 11, it's important to be researching the colleges or universities one is interested in or the programs, and allow plenty of time to write the SATs or the ACTs. Often students will write those exams earlier on in grade 11 in case their test scores aren't high enough. So you have the option to write them again either later in grade 11 or early in grade 12, and to be prepared much time invested in looking at applying to American colleges and universities.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. Let's see. After applying, do schools contact you only if you are admitted, or do they notify you if you have not been accepted as well? That varies by school. In my experience, I was notified both times, whether I was accepted or received a rejection letter. But again, that would vary by school. Sandy, do you have any comments about that? And Lori, I know you don't really deal with that particular process, but do you know if schools in BC offer that service?
I'm not sure. I can only speak from a personal perspective because, like I said, I've got a son in grade 12, another one that graduated 5 years ago. We didn't get the rejection letters because that wasn't the case, but definitely the acceptance letters came through.
In my experience, students are notified either way. With the universities that and the students I've helped, they've always received information one way or the other.
Okay, perfect. And Art Wanwell, I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Thank you for your comments. This is really, really good and very helpful. But I do agree that Ontario colleges should be included, or rather colleges in general, should be included as part of a Plan B option when you're making your school, when you're considering your schools and your options and everything. Colleges are definitely something, and usually it's often ignored, which is quite sad. But definitely colleges, some of them do offer degree programs now, and that's another reason for you to consider a college in your Plan B. Let's see. Okay. We have a question about, do scholarship offers typically come with offers of admission? Not necessarily. This can vary from different schools. Usually students with higher averages do get offers for entrance scholarships, and those are automatically considered when you apply to the school. But other scholarship offers for the school don't necessarily happen. The best thing to do is to ask. One of the stories I offered at a previous webinar on finding scholarship applications was in my second program when I applied for radio and television at Ryerson University. One of my friends had a 93% average, and she applied to the same program, radio and television, and she heard a rumor that there wasn't any scholarships available for that particular program. So she didn't bother asking the department for information. And then later on in her university career, so right now she's in her 4th year, and she was asking around, she was just curious, and one of her colleagues had an 80, like a low 80, I don't remember the exact percentage, had like an 80-something entrance average, and actually received a entrance scholarship. It was only like $500, which is a small amount of money, but then again, every little bit helps. And the only reason he got an entrance scholarship was simply because he asked the department whether they offered entrance scholarships. So in some cases, if you didn't receive an entrance scholarship or any scholarship from the school and you really think you should receive one, contact the financial aid department or the department that you're applying to at the school to find out more information, because there may be some scholarships that aren't necessarily advertised on their website. Okay. Okay, we have a question here. If a student has graduated a few years ago, is the application process to OUAC or OCAS the same as the ones for graduating year? No, that is a different form that is on the website. The OUAC 101 form is available for students in high school, so high school students graduating from high school and applying to university for the OUAC. Then the other form, I believe it's Form 105, but basically it's a separate application form, and that is the one you would use as either a mature student or a student who's been out of school for a few years. I had to use both forms actually when I was applying, because when I applied to York, I was applying straight out of high school, and when I applied to Ryerson for my other program, I had to use a different form. The forms themselves are pretty much the same in terms of the content, but they are different forms, so there's a few changes. In BC, I'm not sure if there's anything different about that. Lori, could you provide a bit of insight?
Well, again, we provide the central service for that common form, but in what I have seen, it's pretty much the same. Now, perhaps once you get to the institutional form, it's different, but when you enter the common form through Apply BC, we accept new graduates or people who've been out of school or mature students. It's basically the same process from our end of things.
Okay, perfect. And Sandy, do you have any information for Apply Alberta? And you have some experience with that, right?
I haven't used their application service greatly. No, from what I understand, it's just the common, unless only this college is affiliated with Apply Alberta, they still accept from mature students. Otherwise, they can apply directly to the institution. They have the option there.
Okay, perfect. Let's see. Amanda says, another feedback comment, thank you for clearing this up, that in Ontario you use OUAC for university, OCAS for college, and the only exception would be collaborative programs. So yes, career colleges in some cases. Okay. Let's see. If you are accepted but change your mind after accepting, can you cancel and go to a different school? Some schools may have restrictions on that, but I'd say you most certainly can, depending on when the offer date ends. Sandy, do you have any feedback on that?
I was just going to say pay attention to the dates and understanding exactly how long the other acceptance is available, because there will be a cutoff for many of those institutions.
Okay. Do universities in BC look at optional provincial exams? I heard that their policies have recently changed and this no longer influences your application. Lori, do you have any feedback on that?
I'm sorry, I don't have any specific information on that. I would suggest you contact the specific institution you're applying to, and there might be information on the Ministry of Education website for British Columbia.
Okay, perfect. And let's see, do past graduates need a PIN to apply through OUAC? When I applied the second time around and used a different form, I did not require a PIN number. Simply I didn't do the paper, so I did the online form, and you just apply through the service. You don't need a PIN number for that. The PIN number is only applicable for high school students, and the reason the PIN number exists is to differentiate between that student for that particular high school when they're making their application. Let's see. We have here, if my mother tongue is not English, but I'm learning it in school for more than 10 years, need a certificate for an application. Yes, if you, for some schools, there may be TOEFL or SAT or some other certificates. A good thing to do is to look at the prerequisites. So if you go to schoolfinder.com and look up the program that you're interested in applying to, you can see if those are some of the restrictions at the school. And if you do have any questions, call the school up and speak to their admissions department, and you can get that all cleared up. Okay, I think that is all for questions, and thank you everybody for all those who stuck around, and thank you Lori, and thank you Sandy for being a part of this presentation. It's been most helpful, and also to the two people who responded with feedback on some of the information that we have, so that's very good. We want to have a very interactive session, so that was very good. So thank you everybody for coming, and look forward to seeing you at our next webinar series. So if you have any feedback, feel free to send us an email or give us a call.